We had on Bill Polian yesterday, and he was raving about Johnny Manziel.
Well,
and then we just played a cut of Ron Jaworski on a Philadelphia radio station. He had told us off the air about 3 weeks ago. He said he doesn't like him at all. Today, Jaworski said, I wouldn't take him in the first 3 rounds. So what's the real deal? You saw him. What do you think?
He's one of those beauties in the eye of the beholder. I think Jaworski is who I have great respect for, is a traditional quarterback guy. He likes a bigger quarterback. He likes a guy who can operate in the pocket, and he likes a guy who can play a lot. And Johnny Manziel is probably going to weigh about 207 pounds, 5'11 and 3/4. And you have to make sure that he's going to be able to line up every week. He leaves the pocket a lot, runs around, so that hasn't really done wonders so far for Robert Griffin III, and I think that's part of the reason. I think it's also because I think Jaworski's more of a traditionalist.
Yeah, it just seems so strange to me, Peter, that a guy that's a quarter of an inch shorter than Drew Brees can't play in the NFL.
Yeah. Well, I don't think but they're different players down there. They're, Drew Brees does not run around at all. He's sort of a, classic. He's a classic pocket guy, and Manziel shreds people with his running ability, which I think you don't want to do in the NFL because you're going to end up getting hurt. So I think it's more about his style of play and not just his size.
Now, I was reading MMQB, and you wrote that you actually met with Manziel in Indy, not for a long time, and we just played a cut from Barry Switzer, who essentially called him a punk and doesn't like, he's entitled off the field and all that. What sense did you get of Manziel? Do you think his personality will get in the way?
I sense that, I met with the guy for 35 minutes, is saying all of the right things, doing all the right things, saying everything that is smart. And so right now, to me, I look at him, and he's trying to undo some of the things that, he's done the last couple of years, with, off the field, the Manning Passing Academy stuff. And will it work? I don't know if it's going to work. It's going to be in the eyes of the NFL teams. But right now, the problem with trying to make some judgment on it right now, NFL teams have 10.5 weeks to decide what they're going to do with Johnny Manziel, with Jadeveon Clowney, with all these guys. So everybody wants to know, what are they going to do? I don't know. They don't know.
Now, is Clowney, for lack of a better word, flaky enough to drop in the first round?
Well, I don't think it has to do with his personality. I think it has to do with his desire. And, Mike Mayock asked the question openly last week. There's people who are going to wonder if he loves football. If you watched him play this year, and again, I'm not a big college football watcher, but you're not a great football player. You're not a great pass rusher if you have 1 sack in your last 33 college quarters. His last 8.25 games, Jadeveon Clowney had 1 sack. And, I think, you've got to look at that and you say, okay, is he saving himself for the NFL? Okay. So, in other words, every time he gets on a football field, is this the day you try hard, or is it next week that you try hard? If I'm an NFL team, those are the kind of questions I'm going to be asked. But it's going to be a torturous pick for somebody, because no matter who picks him, you're going to be worried because you're not positive what exactly you're going to get as far as his desire and a guy to figure out whether he loves football.
All right, so he opened up a lot of eyes, Clowney did, with his 40-yard run. But then he kind of raised eyebrows with the fact that his bench press was as good as it should have been. So what's more important to these evaluators? And the games that the guy plays on the field in college, are they usurped by what they do at this combine and how much weight they lift and how fast they run?
And that's the problem, Mike. I mean, to me, we start talking, this guy rose, this guy fell, this guy such and such happened. Anytime you put too much emphasis on physical drills in shorts and a T-shirt, you obviously you're making a huge mistake. And the Dolphins a few years ago, Bill Parcells had huge regret for falling in love with Pat White at events like the Combine and his postseason workout. You think the Jets feel good about Stephen Hill, who was the star of the Combine 2 years ago, and he's been a bust ever since? I mean, that's why you can't put too much emphasis, positive or negative, on what happens at the Combine.